Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker, a real estate investor helping you realize your dreams of owning a home or investing in one. Hey, have you ever wondered why it is often those we least expected are the ones who end up betraying our trust? Well, listen, I was looking at an interview that EYL had with Fat Joe, and he discussed his unexpected lessons that he learned surrounding deceit and betrayal. His backstabbers were not strangers, but those he held close either in mind or in his heart. The scars were not from random encounters, but it was from familiar faces. One familiar face is one that many in the music industry, and even some of us who are not in the industry, have heard before. Okay, and then the other person was a friend who he knew over 2 decades. All right, believe it or not, what happened to him, many of us have actually fall prey to those scams, not from strangers, but from those that we had within our circles. See, here's the thing. We often have these high expectations from people who look like us, the same race, same ethnicity, hair texture, body shape, the ones who may talk like us, or they may seem in some way, shape, or form to be like us, maybe have our same ideals, right? But the saying, all skin folk is not necessarily kinfolk, definitely applies in this particular situation and in many others. See, it's always what's on the inside of a person. What values do they share? Do they have your best interests at heart? And that does take time to find out. Okay, the challenge is in discerning the genuine from the counterfeit. And unfortunately, many people, are not really gifted with discernment. There are certain things that you can discern, but let's be honest, there are certain things that it's not always that easy. And it is a gift of the spirit that only a few people have. Okay, and then you also have those that are prophetic. And I'm not talking about people who claim they have it. I'm talking about people who really have that type of anointing. And unfortunately, no, all of us don't have it. Okay. Now, what I want to, just point out is that, we have to watch it. We have to be careful about getting hypnotized by the glitz and the glam that a person appears to have. Keyword here is appear. Okay. And we also have to be careful of being swayed by any eloquent words that one may use. A lot of times we ignore red flags, we disregard our intuition, and we continue to forgive. I have to raise my hand and say ouch, because that's me, until the harsh reality of betrayal actually bites us in the butt. Okay? So let me go over the 2 examples that he gave, right? One of the examples was somebody who was famous. He saw this person just like how I saw this person on TV, and pretty much figured, okay, well, this person is not going to screw me because they have the money already, they have the fame already, they have the title, they've won awards for their work. So you feel honored. I'm pretty sure he felt honored that this person saw him and felt that they can use him, or, he thought that they were going to make him into a big star, right? But unfortunately, that was not the person that did it. That person actually screwed him over. Guess what? In real estate, it happens the same way too, because with me, the person that I connected with, she was in a magazine, they wrote up about her saying that she was one of the top people to meet in Atlanta. She was also the marketing director of the Georgia Real Estate Investors Association. So I said to myself, oh no, she would never screw me. She has this title. She makes this money. She's rich already. And she's also a pastor. Okay. But listen, I let the big name and the accolades fool me. Please don't let it fool you. Don't think for 1 minute that because somebody is already rich, because they've already made it up there, that they won't con you. No, some of them will turn around and hurt you. Sometimes they're afraid that you will become bigger than them, and so they will drag you down. And yes, this does happen from people who look like you. I'm not saying don't trust anybody who, don't ever trust somebody who looks like you. I'm just saying that you can't put all of your faith into believing that these people are going to have your back, because unfortunately in this world, no matter what industry you're in, that is not the case. Okay? The path to deception is not often a straight line. Another example that he gave was somebody he knew for 25 years. You see, some con artists, they will start off being honest with you. They will make money. They will save you money so that they can build your trust. But then all of a sudden they'll switch up. And the person you thought you knew then becomes a stranger. It's happening to me as well right now as we speak. And I'm going to be very careful because I may have to go to court with this one. Yeah, I said it. Court again. I'm telling you. So anyway, getting back to Fat Joe, the person who he knew who screwed him, this other person, was his accountant. Okay? He even went to jail and served time thinking that he actually did something wrong when it was really his friend with quotation marks, his accountant, that screwed him, who was the person who really should have done time. Okay? And guess what? This is not the first time I've heard about this amongst celebrities. There are other celebrities where I heard the same thing. Even Steve Harvey recently talked about how one of the reasons why he's working so hard and he had all those shows was because his former accountant also screwed him out of millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. Right? So the importance of this is that periodically you got to review your friendships. You got to review your financial relationships also. I was reading in a book a while back. It says don't use the same accountant for too long, for too many years. You should always either switch to another accountant or have a second accountant review what your accountant did. So maybe like every 5 years, 3 to 5 years, you can have your accountant, the same one that you use, review your taxes, do your taxes, and then have another one review what they did just to make sure that they did it right. Because sometimes, and I did run into this myself, they get comfortable with you. They get complacent. They're like, oh, wow, this is a long-standing customer. She'll be back. And then the next thing I know, I call, find out, well, what's the status of my taxes? Oh, they didn't do it yet. Then it's like the last minute and they're like, we're missing this, we're missing that. I got to go and file for an extension and all this other kind of craziness. I'm like, you know what? Nah. Let me try somebody else and see how that works out for a while. And then maybe I'll go back to you. Maybe not. Right? So this is my own personal experience that I'm interjecting here. And this is also my thoughts as well, as far as what I wanted to share with you, is that unfortunately, yes, accountants, they can fall prey. They have their own personal issues that can lead to negligence and, yes, even scams. It's happened more than once. Okay. And lastly, don't take it personal. I fall victim of doing that, right? Because a lot of times people point the finger. They love to point the finger at you. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't take any responsibility or accountability at all, because it's good to look at yourself to see if you did do anything wrong, so that you don't have to that you don't repeat the pattern, right? But know that a lot of times it isn't you. Sometimes they start losing customers and they need that extra money for whatever reason. So they're like, oh, this one over here, they make a lot of money. She or he is not going to see that I'm skimming money off the top. And you know what? It's not that much, so I don't have to pay that person back. I'm telling you, that's how some people think. Then you also have some people who will be great in the beginning, health-wise. But then they'll develop an addiction to drugs, an addiction to gambling. And when those types of addictions kick in, yeah, sometimes they start skimming off of your money. And they'll do it in a way so that you probably won't notice, especially if you're complacent and you're like, oh, I trust this person with my life. Oh, they would never. Yeah. They want you to be that way. They want you to think that way, so that they will, it makes it, the door has been now opened so that they can scam you, so that they can start skimming off of you. Okay. So that's what I wanted to share. In summary, I say recognize the red flags. Don't ignore them out of a misplaced sense of loyalty or trust, right? Because sometimes when you know somebody for a long time, that trust develops, that loyalty develops, and you see something wrong, but you'll be like, nah, they wouldn't do that to me because of all the things I've done for them or all the things they've done for me. Don't do that. Okay. Next, don't take it personally. Sometimes people change, not because of anything you did, not because of who you are, but because of their own personal struggles. And then the last thing is trust, but always verify. And most importantly, protect your own interests at all times. All right? So that's all I got for you guys. Please feel free to share this. Remember, sharing is caring. Until next time, have a good night.